survivors, and welcome to Survivor's Guild, the only channel that determines your odds of surviving 2013's silly Spectre shark movie, Ghost Shark. So stay tuned till the end for your survival stats. I'm your sharp-dressed slasher turned horror host, GhostFake. Now I hope you like spending the day on a slip and slide, only to slip and slide into the mouth of a shark ghost, because this movie is getting spoiled. Ghost Shark, written by Eric Forsberg, Scott Foy, and Griff Furst, and directed by Griff Furst, and starring Mackenzie Rosman, Sloane Coe, Richard Moll, Dave Davis, and Jaren Mitchell. Ghost Shark is about a small community that is haunted and hunted by a recently murdered great white shark. We open up to a sport fishing charter in the middle of the bay where Brubaker and his daughter Vicky are reeling in a record catch. We find out that Brubaker only has 20 minutes to land this fish in order for it to count in the tournament. We then get introduced to Reed, the owner of the vessel, who warns them about going over time. But right before they can bring the fish aboard, a great white takes a bite out of it, sending the head of the fish flying into the boat. Brubaker, upset that this shark may have cost him $30,000, takes out his revolver and begins trying to kill the shark. When Reed tries to stop him, Brubaker pushes him away, sending Reed into the ladder and knocking him out. Brubaker continues seeking revenge against the toothy fish, first shooting it with a crossbow and then pouring hot sauce on it, before Vicky throws a grenade into its mouth, fatally wounding the white. Reed comes to and scolds the duo as the wounded shark swims into a cave on the beach. The shark then succumbs to its injuries and sinks beneath the surface. Just then, the pictographs in the cave begin to glow, letting us know that this isn't your ordinary cave. This is a pet cemetery. Back on the boat, Vicky begins recording a vlog about how they kicked that shark's ass, when the ghost shark leaps out of the water and pulls her in. Brubaker holds her legs as the shark and he play tug of war over Vicky's body, before the shark ultimately wins and pulls Vicky into the meat bank at deposit number 1, and then pulls Brubaker into the water. Reed attempts to bring Brubaker back aboard, but the ghost shark is too fast, and it pulls Brubaker into the meat bank at deposit number 2. Reed, who is shocked by the event that just transpired, notices a glow coming from the bait fish bucket, and then gets deposited off camera but on camera at deposit number 3 into our meat bank. Cut to the next day and this group of friends who are participating in a fun day at the beach, where we get introduced to Mick, played by Sean C. Phillips, Cameron, whose dad is the mayor, Blaze, who has a crush on Ava, whose dad was Reed, and Taylor, who won't be around for long. We also get introduced to Ava's younger sister, Cicely, whose dad was also Reed, before cutting over to the lighthouse where we meet Finch, who is keeping an eye on the beach for one reason or another. We follow Finch into the lighthouse's living quarters where we find out that his wife died at some point, making her deposit number 4 into our meat bank. That's right, Finch, medicate that grief like an adult by drinking the pain away. Cut back over to the beach where Ava and Cicely recognize their dad's boat and decide to swim race to it. Once on board, they quickly find the blood, the camera, and the evidence of their dad's demise. Cut over to Taylor, who is enjoying some sun, when her floaty gets bumped a couple of times before she gets flung into the air. She sees the fin of the ghost shark and panics. Cameron sees her panic and dumps Mick off of his jet ski to go save her. When Cameron gets to her, she climbs on and shoves him off. The ghost shark passes Cameron and continues towards Taylor, and Taylor continues towards safety. But as she approaches the beach, Blaze looks on in horror as the ghost shark leaps out of the water and bites Taylor in half, biting her into the meat bank at deposit number 5. Cut to a few hours later, and the cops are marking off the area as a crime scene. We get introduced to Sheriff Martin, who doesn't have a problem with the idea that Taylor was attacked by a shark, but is suspicious of the description of the shark being translucent. And as Sheriff Martin tries to convince the girls that their dad might still be alive, Finch shows up to school them on ghost sharks, telling them that ghosts are real.
As real as the lies this town was built on.
Just then, Cameron's dad, Mayor Stahl, shows up to make sure that news of the shark attack doesn't get to the media. The next day or something, the friends meet up at the precinct to review the footage found on the camera found on Reed's boat, footage in which they find a single frame of the shark. The group argues that the police just don't understand what they are saying, but Sheriff Martin tells them that they need to let the police do their jobs. And later that night at Cameron's house, Cameron is hosting a pool party, dedicated in part to Taylor, and dedicated in part to it was supposed to happen anyway, so why cancel? And while Blaze sits poolside texting Ava, he notices something unusual in the pool, but loses sight of it, before he gets tackled into the pool by Mick. And he leaves the party to go to Ava's house to talk to her since his BlackBerry just became a Brokeberry, and Ava shows him the footage that she stole from the sheriff. Meanwhile, back at Cameron's party, these two dudes are getting into an ass clown insult battle.
You an ass clown? She's an ass clown.
When all of a sudden things get physical. But when Cameron tells them not to fight at his house, the dude protests in Gainer,
Now I'm doing a gainer in your house.
parkouring this dude into the meat bank at deposit number 6. Seriously though? That was a sick gainer. Naturally, one dude dies doing a gainer at your house and everybody flips out. Anyway, while everyone is fleeing the pool, this guy gets deposited at number 7. Cameron doubles back when he sees Mick struggling to get out of the pool and tries to help his friend get out. But before he can, the ghost shark helps Mick into the meat bank at deposit number 8. The next day, Cameron calls Ava to let her know what happened at the party, and she and Blaze head to Cameron's house. When they get there, they walk by a coroner bringing out deposit number 9, and I'll tell you why I counted it this way shortly. They see Cameron getting a talking to by his dad mayor, who is trying to narrow down what kind of drugs they were on, while the police place mutilated body parts in baggies. Dad Mayor talks to the sheriff and tells him that he needs to get Cameron talking sense because he can't have a ghost shark story getting out to the public before his next election. But mid-sentence, they are interrupted by another officer who found a severed hand, aka deposit number 10, into the meat bank, and a phone that shows them the video of that dude doing a sick gainer. And while they're distracted, Ava, Blaze, and Cameron make a break for it. We then get a montage of some people going about their daily lives, plumbers plumbing, kids kidding, and car wash girls car washing, when the plumber leaks into the meat bank at deposit number 11. This kid slips into the meat bank at deposit number 12, and this girl poorly edits in at deposits 13 and 14. And here's why. Though they're wearing the same shoes and the same top, they're wearing different bottoms. So that's 2 girls right there. Cut over to Finch, who is watching the news drunkenly, and they confirm our count so far.
13 people are reported dead,
minus Finch's wife, who is not included in this news report. And later, Finch discovers the dead shark in the cave, drunkenly. Later, Ava, Cameron, and Blaze head into the lighthouse to talk to Finch about what's going on, figuring he knows a thing or two about ghosts, or hallucinations. He tells them that the cave brings things back, before falling to the floor, drunkenly. Cut over to Cicely, who is taking a bath when she gets attacked, but the shark hates Italian food and throws her back into the arms of Ava, who just got back home just in time. And while Cicely relearns how to walk, the group find a news story on Finch's dead wife, and after learning about her death by the cave, they decide to go to the Maritime Museum to learn more about the lighthouse. And Cameron figures out that the shark cannot manifest without water. Talk about logical leaps. Cameron, Blaze, and Ava then leave when an officer arrives and head to the museum. They arrive at the museum, and Ava and Blaze head in while Cameron takes a smoke break outside, like he's never smoked a day in his life. They find a display teaching the history of the lighthouse, which was built in 1897 after hundreds of ships crashed into the shallow reef. Hundreds of shipwrecks and not a single deposit. Interesting. They get approached by a curator whom they ask about the cave by the lighthouse, to which he immediately concludes that they must think that what's going on in town is related to these old ghost stories. Damn. Everyone in this town is so damned intuitive. He asks them if they know about the legend of the old Roanoke colony, and that a similar incident happened in Smallport, and that the only record of it is a memoir from a woman named Maria, who wrote of people being forced into the cave and violently murdered only to come back and ravage the town. He also tries to show them a grimoire, or a book of spells, that's a companion piece to the diary he showed them, but when he looks for it, he finds it missing. The curator remembers that Finch visited earlier and was acting strange. Meanwhile, Cameron finishes his break and passes Finch on his way out. Well, that's convenient, and tosses his butt into a fire bucket. I mean trash receptacle. That turns into a fire bucket and sets off the sprinklers. And when the water pours into the museum, the phantom fish shows up and soaks the curator into the meat bank at deposit number 15. And when the trio try to escape the sinking museum, Cameron slips on the way out and the supernatural shark deposits him into the meat bank at deposit number 16. Cut over to the police station where the mayor's assistant is getting a drink of water. Big mistake, idiot. Sharks love water. That's actually true. But as soon as he takes a gulp, he starts convulsing before he splits open, splitting him into the meat bank at deposit number 17. Back at the museum, Ava alerts the proper authorities, and then Cicely drives up. Ava tasks Blaze with taking Cicely home, while Ava heads to the cove to find Finch. Cut over to the sheriff's office where Sheriff Martin has to break the news to Mayor Stahl that his son is dead. He takes the news well enough, but then tells the sheriff to meet him at the marina, because they are going fishing.
Going fishing.
Which is an odd way to grieve, but everyone has their own process, I guess. Jump back over to Cicely and Blaze, who find a group of kids playing in the spray of a fire hydrant, who don't take kindly to Blaze telling them to stop. He drives towards them to get them to run away, and his truck gets smashed by the prehistoric poltergeist, rendering it useless. The kids take off after them for ruining their fun, but when they run through the water, the shark shows up and takes them into the meat bank at deposits 18 and 19. Cut over to Ava, who has wandered into the cave and found Finch, and the dead shark. She notices that Finch has the grimoire that was stolen from the museum, and she tries to take it, and explains that she wants it so that she can stop the shark. Finch tells her that that's why he stole it, and that he's trying to find a way to stop the shark without hurting his wife. He finds out that in order to get rid of the shark, they must create a talisman from the object that killed it, which Ava assumes is the arrow sticking out of its head. Cut back to Sheriff Martin and Mayor Stahl, who are therapy fishing. Oh wait, they're revenge fishing, duh! But when Sheriff Sheriff Martin, who was told at gunpoint to chum the waters, doesn't chum the waters. He chums the boat when the spirit shark leaps out of the water and pulls him in. And when the mayor realizes that he's missing, he heads down to look for him and finds him when the ghost shark resurfaces and the mayor takes aim. The mayor shoots at the shark, but ends up hitting the sheriff. Ooh, headshot. Headshotting the sheriff into the meat bank at deposit number 20. Headshot sheriff. The mayor heads into the boat to reload and falls into the bathroom when the shark hits the boat. The mayor then gets his ass ate when the shark comes through the toilet, eating his ass at deposit number 21 into the meat bank. Cut over to the cave where Cicely and Blaze have joined up with Finch and Ava when the ghost shark joins them. Ava stabs it with the arrow talisman and the shark explodes. Phew! The nightmare is finally over. Wait, where are the credits? Finch goes to grab the arrow and the ghost shark emerges from the water and bites off his fingers. They regroup in Finch's living quarters and decide that maybe they have to blow up the cave to finally get rid of the phantom fish. Finch doesn't want to, and he admits that he accidentally killed his wife, drunkenly, when she was searching for trinkets in the cave, and the two of them had a fight, drunkenly, and that he is worried that destroying the cave would interrupt her rest. He grabs the grimoire and leaves, locking the group in the lighthouse. They pick the lock and escape while Finch rows over to Reed's charter boat, where he finds what's left of the mayor.
Son of a bitch. Yeah.
Cut over to the trio who are breaking into a construction site to get explosives with which to destroy the cave, and Finch gets visited by his dead wife, who helps him realize that he needs to help them destroy the cave. Finch meets up with them,
And I'm here to help.
and helps them rig up the cave with explosives. But right after they light the fuse, it begins to rain, leaving the ghost shark free to roam the land. The ghost shark puts out the fuse, and Ava runs over to relight it. And while the others look on with bated breath, Finch looks up with bait breath, only for the ghost shark to come down on him, carrying Finch into the meat bank at deposit number 22. The group avoid the repeated ghost shark attacks, while Ava attempts to relight the fuse. And while the shark's spirit is preoccupied with Blaze and Cicely, Ava heads into the cave and breaks a lantern over the fuse, reigniting it. Ava escapes the cave just as it explodes, sending her flying into the water. But as she swims in the water, the dead shark that's not quite dead swims towards her, all while the cave does whatever this be. Cicely mourns the death of her sister, while Blaze mourns the death of his crush, while Ava surfaces not quite dead, and the two of them jump into the water with her for a victory swim, while Blaze lists off all the friends and family they lost.
Talks about Mick and your dad.
And the movie ends. So now, to find out, what are your chances of suffering survivor's guilt? This is where we take a look at our main characters and the death that surrounds them to determine your odds of surviving this movie. And a huge thanks to friend of the channel and friend in life, Video Creep, for delivering today's stats.
Thank you for letting me be here. I'm happy to be here. Before I was here, I was sad, and I could tell that I'm happy to be here because now I'm happy. I must have did a good job last time because like you invited me back. I guess we're in love. But yeah, we have a lot of kills to go over, so I'm not even gonna play this little cutesy game. Like, let's just talk about these kills. Alright, now first off, we got Vicky. She's the first kill in this movie, and she straight up embarrassed herself by gloating about her father's physical dominance, and then immediately gets bodied by a shark made of ghost. And because that ghost ain't playing around, he comes back around and then takes out Brew Baker, because that's a stupid name and we hate it. Now, because Ghost Shark understands the assignment and understands that witnesses are bad, he comes back around and he takes out Reed. Because no witnesses means nothing happened. Remember that. Now, Finch's dead wife gets like a Chuck E. Cheese coin, but you know, she's dead, so she's on the list. Taylor has like a really unique ski accident. Unique in the sense that I don't think getting bitten in half by an aquatic Casper is in the liability waiver. I would be shocked. That's a thorough document. Then we got Gainer Guy, who gains more than he bargained for. It's low-hanging fruit, I know, I'm sorry. Let me rock! Then we get this unfortunate soul in the pool who looks just like Big Ed. Even though like Big Ed like cut his hair recently, like he's looking good. He's still like a terrible person on the inside, but he's looking good. Anyway, he takes Mick with him. Like, that is not, you know how Aquabats have that song Pool Party Baby? This ain't that. More like Nightmare on Elm Street 2. We got this body bag person, and I say person on purpose because Video Creep keeps it gender neutral. I respect you. We get a quick cameo from Thing from the Addams Family, and then we see this plumber, just like he works on a sink that's like way above his pay grade. Like, there's, how much did he have to get paid to do that? I hope his family's set. I hope he gets paid at all for that. Like, that's where the real movie is. Then we got Slip and Slide Kid, who, without a doubt, is my favorite kill in this movie. Like, oh my god, like, it feels like this entire movie was written around, like, this one scene. A bunch of dads just got high at a barbecue where kids were doing that, and they were like, imagine. Then we get these two girls at the car wash who, like, I'm not even gonna front. If I took my car to go get, like, a happy ending by girls in bikinis, and then I watched just this, like, massacre with, like, blood and stuff, I think I'd be like, big tips on deck. We see the curator get taken down while he holds like a little lighthouse like a child, adorable. And then Cameron gets straight up like Microsoft PowerPoint side swiped to death by a shark. My man's died like 1987 software, y'all. All right, the mayor's assistant, I can't even clown. Like that was a cool effect. It was like the ghost shark himself was like, I'll pay for this one, guys. Like, you guys worry about the rest of the budget. I have a cool idea. Then we got these two kids who just like turn into legs. Then we see Sheriff Martin like really get disrespected. Like, he gets football tackled like he's trying out for the Philadelphia Phillies, and he gets shot in the back of the head on some Halloween Kills shit. And he's not the only one. Like, Major Stalls also gets done about as dirty as you can. When it gets to that, you can't even sit on the toilet without like a shark coming up and eating ass. What have we become? That's the question. And then finally we see Finch finally join his wife, which, you know what? Go from my boy. I'm happy for him. And that's all the people that die in Ghost Shark. That's quite the body count. Do you need like a comparison? You want to know like who survived in this thing? All right, you want that? Bet. I got you. We got Ava, Cicely, Blaze. That's it. If you're afraid to go into water because of sharks and shit, like now you can be afraid that there are sharks that you can't see, because sometimes sharks have unfinished business. Oof, that is a good tagline for a future Ghost Shark movie. I need to pitch that, make myself some Chuck E. Cheese coins.
Which means that out of a total of 25 characters, only 3 survive, giving you a 12% chance of surviving this movie. Given those odds, how screwed are you when we finally achieve our goal of ridding the world of sharks, only for them to attack us as ghosts? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you, Video Creep, for delivering today's stats. Survivors, go ahead and check out Video Creep's channel on YouTube. I guarantee that he'll have content on there that you'll enjoy. And a huge thanks to my patrons: Chris D, Sackhead Ed, Bubba T, Maximilian H, Macabre Python 18, Video Creep, Populio, Valentina P, Mintrix, Brady D, Matthew, Vids for You, Mr. Nightmare Fuel, Maxwell the Kaiju Man, Lobotomite, and Whiskey. Thank you guys so much for your support. I seriously appreciate it. Alrighty guys, as always, thanks and don't die.